All right. Well, I'm glad that everyone is here. And this marks the second week of our meditation, March meditation. And today we're very happy and proud to have Dr. Kofi Kondwani. And Dr. Kofi Kondwani is, as you can see in his background, Morehouse School of Medicine. And I've known Kofi. I want to say since 1982. Maybe you can correct me on that. I think that's when I met you, and then when I moved up here in Sacramento, we just became really good friends, and did a lot of reasoning together. And Dr. Kondwani is a TM teacher. When I met him, he was a TM teacher, and then he got his doctorate degree from Maharishi Institute, where he got his doctorate in biopsychiatry. And just saying that is a mouthful, and he'll talk about that. He's traveled all over the world. He's been in some very interesting places at some very interesting times. But the reason why he's here today is I call him the minister of silence. And he knows how to get to the root of meditation and silence, and to get into the self. And without further ado, I want to introduce my friend, Dr. Kofi Kondwani. Thank you, Kofi, for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for inviting me, and also for being a friend for so many years. I enjoyed every moment of it. I'm here today to talk about silence, but I hope you don't just listen to my words, because I also want us to experience silence. Wherever you are in the world right now, there is silence, even though there may be noise on top of it. But silence is everywhere, evenly present. You take silence away, and you just got some more. So it is valuable because it goes back to the beginning of existence. Silence does. The same silence that we can experience now has already existed. So it is a common denominator to everything in existence, past, present, and future. So that's why it's valuable for us all to be able to directly experience it. And so when I begin to, I won't say when I begin to chart out my degree, but when I began to answer the call that I had, put it that way, I looked at different professions, and physician and this and that, and I decided I really didn't want that route, because to me, silence is its own teacher. When you go into silence, there are things that you experience that you're still aware of, but once you get into pure silence, there's nothing. So to be able to tap into that is being able to tap into the source of existence. Not only outside in the universe, but also inside your mind. Silence unites them both. Um, so I want to share with you a PowerPoint for a bit, because I looked at meditation not just as something you do on the top of a mountain with a shaved head wearing a silk gown. But I also want to look at the science of it. There's a science to it. There are things that occur almost every time someone sets up the condition to meditate correctly and easily. If you have to work at it, is you're working too hard. If you have to do anything in the meditation, you're working too hard. You're still thinking. You're thinking in English. You're thinking in syllables. You're maintaining things, postures, or other things, or you're listening to something outside of yourself. All these things are attention grabbers. And during meditation, you want 100% of your attention on yourself. So you are awake and aware of what's going on around you, but your attention is turned within to a sound that settles down until it too disappears, leaving you at the deepest levels of your mind. That's mechanical, that's physical, that's repeatable, it's measurable. So I thought to do some measures. And in some of these cases, I'll tell you why. So I'm going to try to do a share screen here without making y'all disappear. That's okay. We're not trying to. So I'm going to talk about consciously resting and the ability to do that. Because as I described things that you could do, you can't do that while you're running down the street or dancing on the dance floor. You need to be still in order to do what I'm describing. Now, you can get to a level where you can maintain both, but that's another story for another day. So consciously, meaning you're awake and aware of what's going on around you, and resting, meaning your heart rate, your breathing is settled down. And the word meditation only means thoughts. And so the word meditation, people have connotations of Eastern philosophy or ideas, but that's not the case. But I want to let you know up front, I do have a business teaching consciously resting. I'm not generating a lot, but I have it because Uncle Sam takes a lot. So we have a bargain right now. But I want to start with what's keeping us from being able to experience the deeper levels of our mind. There's a reason why we can't settle down and go. And it's around stress. Now, stress can be good things or bad things. You could be told you won the lottery and have a heart attack and die if you Fred Sanford or others. So the whole point is how your body responds to the stress. We have people at Morehouse School of Medicine that have love to work in the emergency room. Can't wait till the next accident comes in. Uh, Whatever, they want something. And then there's others that don't want to be anywhere near it. So what's stressful to one person is not stressful to the other. So we can't blame the activity. We have to look at our ability to handle it. So look at stress as our response or our reactions to any demands to our body, good or bad. If you mentally get overstressed, your thinking is not going to be clear. You're going to be forgetful. You're not productive. You don't feel good about yourself. That's because of stress. But it can also have physiological ramifications. If you don't deal with it at the surface level, then you're going to begin to have physiological issues, backaches, problems, indigestion. Then your emotions start to get involved with it. Now you're upset. Somebody step on your new gym shoes and you try to kill them. It's not because they stepped on your shoe, it's because of the stress that you were feeling. And your mood is swinging from one end to the other. Behaviorally, you start changing. You start overeating, undereating, don't want to be around anybody, taking drugs, not active. But there's consequences to that. Obesity, all these things, hypertension, heart disease, most of which African Americans lead in terms of deaths. And almost all of these. So here we have these issues that turn into heart attacks and coronary diseases and strokes and brain aneurysms. And they're all associated with stress. So all this anxiety, all of this high blood pressure, a lot of it, some is hereditary and some are not. Diabetes, all of these things are linked to stress. And where is the most stress in communities in America? We're living in a prison. How much stress are they dealing with in that prison? And how that's going to lead to these different diseases. So we try to relieve our stress with music. And, these days you can be listening to some music and you get cussed out. And, they be talking about your mama and everything, and you just pulled up next to them. So some music can actually increase your stress. Or you go to talk to somebody and they got more problems than you do. So they give you more stress. So we watch TV, and how many people do we see get killed in the course of an hour of channel surfing? But the exercise, the yoga, these kinds of things are very good. But too often we turn to the drugs and the smoke and the drinking and those types of things. So stress. The person who developed stress was named Dr. Hans Selye. And he was the one that coined the term, and he put the antidote in the word itself. And what would that be?
Rest.
Rest. Exactly. Rest. You get stress on you through activity, you get it off of you through rest. And so that's how he came up with that term, because he, in his observation of patients and so forth, came up with that theory that people who are sick look sick. And then you associate that with the level of rest they're getting or not getting. But this is very important, and it's key to what I want to present tonight. And that is that the mind and body interacting together have at least 4 ways that they can interact to create your states of consciousness. So you're in a state of consciousness now. You're aware of what's going on around you. If somebody called your name, you answer. If you're looking at the monitor, you would see it. You're conscious. You're awake. That's where we are now. But we can also be unconscious. So when we're unconscious and our body is at rest, we're sleeping. We're not aware of what's going on around us, but our body is resting. Heart rate has gone down. Breathing has gone down. Blood pressure has gone down. But when you're conscious and your body is active, what state of consciousness would that be? You're unconscious, so you're unaware of what's going on around you, but your body is active.
Habit.
Habit? Not quite. You're unconscious, but you're active. So tell me what would happen if you ate a big meal just before you went to sleep, 2 or 3, 4 pieces of pizza with some jalapenos and some sausages and all the kind of stuff, and you ate 4 slices, and then you went right to bed. What's going to happen?
Your body is still working.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
because you gave it this job to do. And if the body is active, the mind has to be active, whether it's conscious or unconscious. But those are called dreams. When your mind is unaware of what's going on, unconscious, your body is active. It's working, it's healing, it's purifying, it's regenerating. That's why you go to bed and go to sleep. You decrease the activity, you increase the order of any system. That's a law of physics. Now, where is that state in our daily or weekly or every sometime experience where our mind is conscious and awake and aware of what's going on around it, but your body is resting as if it were sleep?
Meditation.
Consciously resting.
Meditation.
Nirvana. Whatever, you can call it anything you want. It is what it is. But we can access this. It's just as much a part of us as any of these others, except we're not forced to do it. We have to consciously decide and rest. But you're awake. So this is why we choose to meditate, using that word loosely. It doesn't have to be called meditation. You're consciously resting. And you can do this very simply and very easy. And that should be another indicator of how natural it is. But you have to decide to do it. Nobody can decide it but you. Nobody knows what you're thinking or not thinking but you. So it's all your decision. The ancients told us to know thyself. This is when you know yourself, because these things are also involved. So, waking, sleeping, dreaming, meditating, consciously resting. 4th state of consciousness, different from waking, different from sleeping, different from dreaming. So that's why I say that's important. We don't have to go anywhere to experience it. We don't have to believe anything to experience it. All we do is set up the conditions and let go. If you try to hang on to something, you may be successful. And you probably will be. But the process is to let go, not hang on. So I define consciously resting as intentionally accessing an alert yet calm state of mind while your body is resting as if it were sleep. Okay. Now, the goal would be to be able to sustain that experience while you're waking, while you're sleeping, and while you're dreaming. But those are even higher states of consciousness. So when we think of sleeping, most times we just think of, getting your nice bed and get your pillow, everything, get ready. But also, when sleep wants to come, it's going to come, no matter where you are. So you have the option when you are consciously resting to do it or not. You don't have the option to sleep. You're either going to go to sleep or you're going to die. You're going to dream or you're going to die. So consciously resting is based on a sound which is a vibration. That's all any sound is. It's a vibration. Physics will also tell you that everything can break down to a vibration. So vibrations and sounds can pierce through things. It can move through windows and doors and floors and all kinds of stuff. So sound can pierce through things. And there's a physics of the sound that can actually settle down to be quieter and quieter and quieter until the sound disappears. And if 100% of your attention was on that sound, then when that sound disappears, you don't, you go into a state of infinite silence. I mean, you can describe it any kind of way, I guess, but when you get to the deepest levels of the mind, you don't even know who you are, because those are thoughts too. So if you're thinking, oh, this seat is tight, or maybe I need to go and do something. If you're having thoughts like that, then you're just not at the deeper levels. That's why it's a vibration rather than a pronunciation or some kind of language. Because if there's language with meaning and all those things, now your awareness is engrossed with the meanings of those thoughts that you're having. And all of those thoughts are going in the outward direction. It's the sound that goes inward because of the physical qualities of the sound. Some sounds are excitatory and some sounds are quieting and soothing. And so that's why a sound is used. You can have a lot of thoughts, and then through the use of the sound, you can slow your thoughts down until you transcend your thoughts and experience silence. And when you have no thoughts at all, then it's pure silence. That's silence, that's awareness with nothing in it but itself. So silence is there, anywhere, any place. Couple of studies, and then we're going to turn to an experience. But back in, when was this? 95, I was there in Oakland with Minister Imhotep, and I was involved with the study there in Oakland, actually of which Imhotep's father was a participant in the study. And I think even to this day, he still meditates.
He still does. He still does. And he talks about, yes, he does.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because, you can only show somebody and then it's up to them. And some people decide to use it and see the value in it and some don't. But I'm always glad to hear somebody. And that was how many years ago? That was, I don't know, 20 years ago at least. But we looked at blood pressure at that point. We wanted to know if a person practices meditation, what's their blood pressure levels over a 3-month period compared to 2 other groups. And so this is 3 months that we studied them. This is the TM group that I taught. This was progressive muscle relaxation, and this was a educational control group. And I'm sorry. The meditation group dropped the blood pressure about 11 systolic and about 6 diastolic. Oops, about 6 diastolic. So that's comparable to some medications. And we were able to show this in a randomized clinical trial way back in the 90s. And they still won't listen. So then I thought, well, the blood pressure goes down, wonderful. But what happens to the heart itself during this process? So I used as my dissertation project this study where we were looking at left ventricular mass index, LVM. This is the thickness of the left ventricle of the heart. And we use sound echocardiography to measure the effects of sound in the meditation. So I told them this was a very sound study and they should support it. But not only did they support it, but the National Heart, Lung, and Wallet Institute covered my whole PhD from that proposal. And where I got this idea from was the weighing of the heart. And the heart was weighed against the feather of my eyes. So what we found here is that the heart actually got lighter in the meditation group, actually in both groups. But then when we looked at other factors, we looked at energy, positive affect, behavioral, emotional control. We looked at anxiety, depression, sleep dysfunction, and physical symptoms of distress. So the ones in the meditation group increased in the places that it should have increased and decreased in the places that it should have decreased. Whereas the other group, the control group, was all out of kilter. So there's something to the weighing of the heart. Georgia State, real quick, I did some studies down there where we taught, I taught, it was 1,500 at one time, but it's actually up to almost 3,000 now. We asked these people, did their breathing change in meditation? 95% said it did. We asked them about, during the meditation, did they experience a part when they were unaware of their body and surrounding, implying that their attention has turned inward rather than outward. Half of the people had that experience within that first meditation. Percent also that says that they remember a time when there was no sound and no thoughts. That's again, indication that they were deep in the meditation where they had no thoughts at all. This is their first meditation. This, I really have to do some other things because I really think this is significant. So here we had before they learned meditation and after. And we asked them, how did they feel, you know, between relaxed or stressed? Most people were on the stress side. After their meditation, most people judged themselves more on the relaxed side, indicating that what happened here, whatever they experience actually changed direction, caused it to change directions and continue. A week later, same group, how many of you feel more energy? How many feel more resting after meditation? So you can see a lot that still needs a lot of rest because they have a sleep debt that they owe their body. And so their body is still saying, you need more rest. So listen, have you noticed any indications of increased clarity of mind? 65% of the people in 1 week said they noticed that their mind's clarity increased. And there was 17% that just wasn't sure or don't know. So they may have and don't know. So this is in an academic setting. Have you noticed any change in sleep quality? Almost 60% noticed over that week their sleep quality changed. And again, 15% said they don't know, but there's only 26% that didn't, said for sure they didn't. And again, that same kind of pattern as before. How do you feel today as compared to a week ago? And there was a greater count that were in the middle as opposed to how they felt a week ago. These are studies that I've done on, this is looking at metabolic syndrome in African Americans. This was a clinical trial done with Emory. And this was a look that was by the AHRQ, which is Agency on Research Quality. And they looked at meditation programs, and they wound up with 2,900 participants. But they agree that that it did help reduce multiple psychological issues, but more studies need to be done. This was another one by the American Heart Association. They said the same thing. The meditation studies as a whole did better, and more long-term studies should be made. So that's all I wanted to intellectually present to you. Any questions?
I remember when I was first discussing this with you, and I know that you're a martial artist, and you were saying that after you had started meditating, that your reaction time was a lot better just from meditating. Can you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, that's why I got into martial arts, and I was in Korea when I joined, and so I got my second degree black belt in Hapkido. And when I started meditation, I noticed that I was getting faster and that my instructor wasn't kicking my ass as much. And I say that because he would teach you a technique once, and if you didn't remember it, or if you got caught with it in it, then he would increase the amount of pain until you got it right. So I noticed I was getting less pain. And that's what led me on to know, even though I had not looked at any meditation literature, it coincided. And so that's why I went deeper into the meditation, because it actually, if it works and you don't even know about it, for instance, if someone meditated here, didn't know that it worked, but had that issue and resolved it, you might not even attribute it to the meditation, but it may have a value underlining your success in that area. So yeah, so I noticed that. And there was a study that actually showed reaction time. If you picture a light and a brake pedal, and every time the light comes on, you put on the brake, and then the light goes off, comes on again, you put on the brake. And so they measure the time between you seeing the light come on and you put on the brake. So that latency between the brake and the light. And what they found was if they had people do that before they learned meditation and then after, and found that the reaction time actually decreased, meaning it got faster, it took less time. So that's how you can measure things. Once you get the thought in your head, then you can come up with a way to actualize it into a research question that then could be answered using the same tools and methodologies that they use to answer questions about medicines or vaccines, whatever.
So I'm sorry, there's someone else. Go ahead.
You talked about the sound or vibration in terms of quieting down and meditation process or
I'm losing a little bit.
the active resting.
Like,
let's see. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, it's better if you lean forward like that.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes. Can you start
so
again?
I was just in terms of the vibration or sound, in terms of in meditation, how people use different things, like maybe music or water sounds, or is the level of maybe is it very personalized in terms of the type of vibration? Is it something like if you're looking to have a sound, is it something that can be, I don't know how to say it, but like water works for some, and
yeah,
maybe.
I think I understand your question. And it can be done either way. So it can be more specific to a person, or it can be very general. But the effect is the same if it's right for you. You see, so if you look at experiencing, or not even experiencing, being in silence, how you get there, once you're there, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is if the sound is taking you inward or outward. And it's the ones that take you out are the ones that may not be so good for you. And definitely not when it's meditation time. So you want a sound that's soothing and quiet that takes you inward. You can choose any sound, but then you don't know what it's going to do because you're just choosing a sound. So there's sounds that have been passed down for thousands of years. There's sounds that go all the way back to ancient Egypt. There are healing, as I learned from Imhotep just the other day, a clinic of healing with sound that was in Egypt. And there was a special place for the healer, and there was a special place for the patient, and there was an interaction of sound between them. So there's laws that operate with sounds because sounds are vibration. It's a thing. And so understanding what vibrations will get you there. It may be like you'll choose a skateboard as opposed to a jet. Now both of them will still get you there. But it's what you go through, to get there.
Thank you.
May I extend that question a little bit more?
Sure.
I'm just wondering.
You're going to wind up in silence, but okay, go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm saying if you extend that question a little more, you're going to wind up in silence.
Should I start now?
Yes.
Actually, my thoughts were on dancing and music, like especially the drum beat. Are there any studies, and has that been associated with meditation and inward peace?
Yes, inward and outward. You've heard of trances. You've heard of groups of people going into a trance at the same time. I was in Senegal in a celebration that was a healing dance for the community.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
there's different levels of this vibration thing. Dance is vibration. It's rhythm. Rhythm is vibration. Um, so they're all intertwined. Um, but at its root is the silence. And every once in a while, at least, um, it would be a good idea to tap into it directly, psychologically. Um, Dance, yoga, they're more physical. Some people can do it, some people can't. Um, it takes effort, it takes thought. You may lose yourself in the dance to separate to some degree or to go into a trance that takes you deeper. But you're fighting so many things when you could cut out all that stuff and don't even have that fight. You want to prevent interruptions from that silence at some time. I'm not saying every time, all the time. I'm not saying daily, but I'm just saying this is a strategy uh, that to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you.
I have a question, Baba.
Yes, please.
Hi. Wonderful to see you again. This is Sister Ngina.
Yes, thank
And
you.
so what, in terms of sound, sometimes I will turn to a Tibetan healing sound or, or different kind. I always do some kind of meditation sounds sometimes. And what I find is that sometimes that gets in the way. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, because sometimes I find that, oh, I need to turn the music off because it gets in the way. Another thing that I have experienced is when I'm meditating and I'm aware, like you say, of some things, and when I can no longer feel my legs and body parts, then I say to myself, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
But am I doing something wrong because I'm still talking to myself? So every time I talk to myself, I'm coming out.
Exactly right. You
Okay.
just like
But so
in order to meditate, you close your mouth. You also have to close your thinking, like because that's another mouth. Okay, it runs faster than the one with the lips, but it's there. So you need to close all of that. And I want to say one other comment about the Tibetan sound. No one owns sound. No such thing as a Buddha sound or this kind of sound or that kind of sound. Who owns the sound?
okay.
So, we need to, take ownership and feel free to utilize it because that's what's been done with light. That's what's been done with taste. It's been built up and things done with it to entice or to pull you out. The whole purpose of the senses is to figure out what's going on out here and come back and tell it to the other mouth. But if you're closing all of this off, that's when everything that you've built, everything that you've thought is set by the side for a moment while you go to on high.
Okay, another quick question, Baba. What is your thought on the importance of the same time, same place, that kind of thing? Because life gets in the way. Somebody woke me up this morning at 7 o'clock doing my yard. So the same time every day. What do you feel? What are your thoughts on that? Do I need to consciously make a decision to try and do it every day at the same time, same place, and all that? That came up this week for us. So
Okay, there's never a place that you cannot meditate unless you're just in harm's way. there's never a time that's not right.
Got it.
That's the whole thing. It goes with you everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have to be in a building or temple. You are your temple. So you don't have to go anywhere. It's God-given that you can access these deeper levels of your mind at any time, in any place on earth. And nobody can take that from you.
Good, good. I have some personal questions for you, but I'll wait till the end of the class. I need to know about your son and your grandchildren and all that.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
At least you got to go bye-bye once more.
Can you talk a little louder? Hello?
Uh-oh.
There you go. Any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes. Oh.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this thing of silence, that very thought is intriguing me because I have great difficulty silencing my mind. I try to meditate, I try to, I do frequencies. I try to do it with nothing. And my challenge is getting to that place you're talking about, the silence, to where I shut off my thoughts, the mouth of my mind, I guess you would say. Is there some special technique to do that?
Yes, and it's called stop trying. See, it's in the trying are the thoughts. It's when you don't care what comes out, you're not taking ownership of it. You have the attitude of let thy will be done. And that's your attitude within the meditation. So you don't care if the thoughts come. How much attention do you give that thought? Do you give it 50% of your attention? Do you give it 5%? Or do you give it none? And if you give it none, it doesn't exist.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I like even find I have difficulty sleep too. I can't shut my mind off when I lay down. It takes me forever. So, it's, yeah. I want this.
Well, you already got it. It's just a matter of turning it and using it. So I have no doubt that you can experience it. I'm looking at the time now, and we're what time do we have, sir?
So we have about 35 more minutes.
Okay, so that's enough time to actually share the experience. But I see you're mobile.
Yeah, I'm about to go to work in a few minutes.
Oh, how many minutes?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually supposed to punch in at 6:30, so I have time.
Okay, because are you in a safe place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually at a church. Anyway.
So any other questions? Because I'd like to take us through an experience to finish off this. I said talking was one part of it, but it's experience. And I say experience because it's not an experience. We're not going out and experience anything. We're going into experience. Whatever it is that we experience, it doesn't matter. As long as we're not controlling it, then it's your mind and your body doing it. Get out of the way. Let it happen. Why do we think that we have to be the ones to coordinate everything with our inner mouth? Let it happen. Let it go. And let it go with love, but just let it go, no matter what it is. Because that's what you do when you dream at night, but you're just not conscious of it. You're unconscious. So I hope everyone is in a place where they can have some quietness for a few minutes.
Kofi, you wanna unshare your screen?
All
Maybe.
right. I never did like unsharing, but I will do it. I had 10 brothers and sisters. We didn't unshare nothing. Okay, great, good idea. Okay. If it's late, you feel like sleeping, if you have to go to sleep, it's okay. Don't resist anything. That also is your body telling you it needs sleep. So let it have it. So I want everyone to just sit comfortably, sit easily, and just close your eyes. Open your eyes. Again, everyone, just close your eyes. Open your eyes. Now, when you close your eyes, you naturally feel some quietness, some silence, and you had thoughts. Did you notice how effortlessly thoughts come, how easily they come? This is how effortlessly you think the sound that we're going to use in this meditation. The sound we'll use in this meditation is shireen. Everyone just whisper shireen. Again, shireen. More quietly, shireen. More quietly. Now, mentally, without moving tongue or lips, continue to think the sound as easily and effortlessly like you would think any other thought. Open your eyes. Mental repetition is not a clear pronunciation. It's just a faint idea. And if at any time you seem to be forgetting the sound, you don't try to hold on to it, just let it go. If thoughts come, you hear noises, just come back to the sound. This is a simple, natural, innocent process of thinking the sound and taking it as it comes. Now, this time when we close our eyes, I want you to wait for about a half a minute and then begin to think the sound very easily and effortlessly like you would think any other thought. And we'll continue for a few minutes. All right, let's close our eyes. Now, start thinking the sound inside, but don't open your eyes for 2 or 3 minutes. Now, slowly open your eyes. So this is consciously resting. See how simple it is? It goes almost by itself. You don't concentrate, you don't control the mind. You just think the sound easily, effortlessly. And if at any time you seem to forget the sound, you don't try to hold on to it. You just let it go. Thoughts come, you come back to the sound. You hear noises, you come back to the sound. It's a simple, natural, innocent technique of thinking the sound and taking it as it comes. Each time you set to meditate, you start with a half a minute of silence before you go into using the sound. You just kind of ease your way in, then start using the sound. And when you're ready to end the meditation, you stop thinking the sound inside, but you wait for about 2 or 3 minutes before you open up your eyes. So always take your time going in, always take your time coming out. It's okay to move around when you meditate just to get settled. And it's also all right to increase your meditations if you're not feeling well, because that will help you to regain your strength. You should always meditate before you eat, or you wait at least an hour after you've eaten, because once you eat, you increase the metabolism. Meditation decreases the metabolism. The more regular you are, the more benefits you're going to get. So don't look at it in the short term, but look at the long-term value of having that experience on a daily basis. Any questions?
Yes, Baba Kofi, this is non-tambo. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
The sound shireen, does it translate for us into a meaning?
No, because it would lose its effect as a sound to take you into deeper levels. As soon as you attach a meaning to a sound, you're actively thinking, because it's work to do that. You got to bring them. You got to bring your awareness and the sound together, and then you've attached a meaning to it. Now you have to do it in English because you don't speak Spanish or you don't speak Portuguese. you know, so now you got to be specific with English. And so all of having a meaning activates all of that thought processes. And so, and this is when you want to have silence. Now, the other times you want to have music, or you want to have this or that, or you want to have a rhythm going. That's up to you. But those things won't keep you in those deeper levels of silence because you're actively doing stuff.
Okay, so Baba, so then what is the real meaning of the sound?
It's not, it's like asking, what is the real meaning of the sound that comes out of the transducer that can give you a sonogram, a picture of the heart. So it's a sound that's made that goes through the skin, through the muscle, into or through the pericardial sac, through the muscle of the heart, to give you a picture of the inside of the chamber. And from that picture, you can extrapolate thickness. And from that, you can extrapolate weight. And so that's how that study tied the heart with the feather.
Oh, okay.
Other
All right, so
yeah.
No, so the mantra that you gave me at, we'll say years ago, is for, again, that purpose, right?
That purpose, yes.
All right. All right. I'm sorry?
I said for that time and that space and those energies surrounding that. It's not just, you know, made up. There was a process.
Okay. So I should use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still works.
All right. Thank you.
You know, Kofi, this is, you really expanded our consciousness on this. You know, you've actually shown us how to meditate. I know a lot of times it's referred to a technique, and just like any other technique that you do, and I really appreciate that. Before we leave, there's about 10 minutes. You know, Deepak Chopra, you know, I would watch videos over at your house, and, you know, sometimes it would be Deepak Chopra when he was with the TM group, and they would talk about when city and
we're losing you.
meditators.
Can you say
that? You're breaking up, Baba Imhotep. You're breaking up.
Yeah, can you repeat that, sir? Just the last part of it.
You're frozen there. But in mind, talking about with groups of meditators to places of conflict.
You're breaking up, you stopped, but I think I caught enough words to know your question. And it's about the research around the effects of groups of people practicing meditation at the same time. And we're talking thousands of folks together, 7,000. And that was done in Washington, D.C. Years back. And they predicted that when we get this number of people meditating, the crime rate will go down, the sickness rate will go down, hospitalizations will go down, car accidents will go down, marriages will go up, patents will go up, and some other things would change. And this was all predicted with scientists and statisticians and the FBI statistics and all of that looking at this prediction. And sure enough, when 7,000 people was reached, those indicators went down, the negative ones. So it really shows that consciousness is a field. It's not just something between our ears. It's a field. It's like gravity. It's everywhere. And so you can reverberate that field. And if you have larger numbers, you can reverberate even more that can affect the behavior of the people around you. You know, if you walk into a church, you're gonna feel humble. You're gonna feel like, you know, you ought to be reverent to where you are. You gotta feel it. Well, that's, you know, just like you may have a feeling if you went into a room where there was just a fight. And now everything is over, but you can still feel that there were some issues in that room. So just like that, you can reverberate consciousness outward. And I believe this was some of the functions of the pyramid and some of the temples, was that sound phenomena. If they were healing people with sound, Minister Hotep, they was healing communities with sound, you know. And so these are things I think could take a lot of research and would be wonderful to see, because that's some things that we can do in our community tomorrow if we chose to. It doesn't cost us anything. You know, it's quiet, it's personal, but it has an effect on the community that you're surrounded. I believe that's what you wanted me to.
Yes, yes. For some reason, I lost my connection. I'm sorry, and I just came back in.
I heard 2 words and figured out what you were trying to say. That's the field of consciousness.
That is. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Question. Okay. I really appreciate all of what you have shared. And I'm just wondering, you know, there have been times when I've done meditation or had some deep thoughts about something, dreaming. I wake up and I realize that writing it down can really benefit me at different times. You know, I could go back and look at it and think about it, and it may generate something else. What do you think about taking notes as a result of meditation, dreaming, or whatever?
As it's outside of meditation.
Yes.
So you wouldn't, you know, be in that groove and just be feeling good, and you get that Nobel Prize thought comes out, and you stop everything and get a pencil and start writing down. So it's probably not a Nobel thought. You know, it could be you releasing stress from a car accident you had, you know. So that's why you don't focus on the thoughts while you're meditating. You just let them go. The content of the thought is not important. So you would just wait. But outside of that, I think it's a wonderful idea to journal or to actually diary, you know, and do things that help you remember. And there's benefits actually physiologically to diary. You know, people live longer that write diaries, for instance. And you're able to get rid of stress from your writing, you know, as one aspect of it. And then you can generate ideas from that, as well as record memories that you feel are important, that made some difference in your life. So it has all of those values to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question as well?
Please.
Yes, Doctor. First of all, thank you for your presentation and your time. Do you foresee meditation being taught as part of the curriculum for, let's say, school-age kids? I know there's a separation of church and state when it comes to religion, but do you foresee that being more presentable, whereas we all know the benefits of meditation? I just want to get your thoughts on that becoming a part of some general curriculum for, you know, school-age children.
Thank you for your question, Malik. That is really thoughtful. And that almost to a T describes my life and the purpose of my life. All this research stuff, you know, I didn't necessarily want to be a researcher. I was not thrilled with that, but I knew the only way what you're describing would happen if there were evidence. randomized clinical controlled trials. If the process was brought to the school and demonstrated in a systematic, measurable way, well, we're going to get something to stick. So that's what I've been doing. Now, my background is mind-body medicine. And I wasn't too interested in the body, nor the mind, alone. I felt they had to be dealt with together. And what I brought to you today and can bring to anybody else is just knowing that there is a balance and a relationship between mind and body. Just like there's the electron, it's sometimes a particle, sometimes a wave. Sometimes the body, sometimes the mind. But there's that interaction. And if we could operate at that level, we could change thoughts as they come out of the mind and have them more powerful and effective, and have these children knowing who they are.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome. Because it's so sad that we don't have this experience offered to us. I have taught in elementary school, the whole school, 300 something children. I taught over here in the West End. Taught all the teachers, taught the principal, taught everybody. And taught thousands of people at Georgia State, trying to get it put in there. Now, when I went to Georgia State, okay, you're a psychologist. You go on in here and you sit and you wait for patients to come in and see you. I said, no, I want to go to where they are. I don't want to wait until they're in crisis situation and then try to help them out. So I wiggled my way into the freshman orientation class, and almost every freshman class learned meditation. I had a staff that also taught, because there's too many for me to teach. So that's what it should be. That should be a profession in and of itself. Meditation specialists, ministers of meditation. You know, that should be a profession. And it would be a nice one. You go, you sit back with them, you meditate, go to the next group. There was sometimes at Georgia State, I was doing 5 classes in a day of meditation. So by the end of the day, it was like I had alcohol or something. I was feeling so euphoric. So it was a wonderful job. But yeah, that's what we got to do. We got to, not only the schools, we got to do the prisons. You know, I've taught at San Quentin Prison for years, meditation. I did make it a point not to know what they were in for, because then I wouldn't be able to close both my eyes. You know, I one or the other, but I ain't close. But that was a fulfilling experience, because that's where stress was the worst. And any break from that, any relief was precious to them, more precious than gold. Bring your burdens to me and I will give you rest. You know, not gold or 40 virgins, rest. Rest is key.
I want to thank our friend, our brother, Dr. Kofi Kondwani, for, and you know, I just want to let you know that for this Sunday's meditation, Dr. Kondwani will be leading the meditation this Sunday. And so that's the way we're doing it. And then next week, Dr. Ushaka Anpu, who wrote Meditation for African Americans, Igniting the Inner Light, will be joining us on Wednesday. And then the following Sunday, he'll be leading us in meditation as well. So, and that's how we're doing it this month. I hope that you gained as much from this session as I did. a very good explanation, the left brain aspect of it, and then he gave us the right brain aspect of it. And by doing that, he allowed us to meld both hemispheres of the brain to come together in silence. Thank you again, Dr. Kondwani. Of course, you're always welcome. Yeah, let's break the silence.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Baba, so now tell me, how many grandchildren do you have? You only have one the last time I was there.
Well,
your son had just had the little girl.
Yeah. Since I can't make grandchildren, I just got the one.
The one, huh? Okay. Great.
Well, good to see you.
Yes, good to see you. So how's Sister Marilyn? Is she well? And
she is. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I was at your 60th birthday party. Remember that?
Yep, I do.
That was wonderful.
God, I'm sorry I missed that one.
I was in Atlanta, Baba. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I happened to be in Atlanta. So Baba Nantambu and his wife and Sister Okanona and I went to his birthday party. And I still have your favors. They're on my table right now.
Well, I'm just having a little dinner party this time. Until I get to 70, then we'll jump again.
Okay. Wonderful. Blessings and thank you for this. Thank you.
I appreciate it. It was my pleasure. I
All
really
right. Bless up. We'll see you next time. We'll see you on Sunday, if not before. Thanks again, Dr. Kondwani, and of course, you're always welcome here at WOSE. All right.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Peace.
Live up and bless
up.
up and love up.
Bye.